Welcome to tonight's Tuesday Tuckin' with your hosts, Mr. Tembor and Mrs. Gosh.
Thank you for that introduction, Dad.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction.
Thank you.
We're going to read a story about who? Mike Wazowski for Tuesday Night Tuckin'. Yep. This one's called Teaming Up. And we've got a little story in here for you from Monsters University.
Yep.
All right. And right at the end, we have everybody's name on here.
Ooh.
Some are blank, which means we would have to spin again. But we didn't have quite enough people yet to fill it up. So I think we had 19.
Very cool.
Okay. So here we go. When Mike Wazowski was a young monster, his class visited Monsters, Inc., where the top scarers in Metropolis worked. These monsters went through special doors into the human world to collect screams from the human children. Then the screams were changed into energy for the town. That makes sense. During the trip, Mike snuck through an open door and watched as a scarer made a child scream. That's when Mike decided that he wanted to be a scarer when he grows up. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a doctor.
Oh, wow. Yesterday was a teacher. There was a scientist the day before.
Make up your mind.
And I want to be a teacher.
Teacher? Perfect. Mike worked hard until he was accepted to Monsters University. On the first day of college, Mike's bus pulled up in front of the gates of a beautiful old campus. Wow, Mike breathed. He checked out the clubs and something called the Scare Games, a contest in which students competed to see who was the scariest. Evelyn, are you scary? Whoa,
That was scary.
that was pretty scary.
On the first day of class, Mike went to Scaring 101. Who could tell me the principles of an effective roar? Professor Knight asked. Mike started to answer, but just then...
Whoa!
Another monster surprised everyone.
That was scary.
The monster who had roared was named James P. Sullivan. His friends called him Sully. Scaring came easily to him, so he never studied. He was only interested in having fun and goofing off. His grades showed it. Mike, on the other hand, studied every night. He read every book on scaring and practiced his scare techniques. He didn't want to fail his final exam. If he did, he'd be out of the scaring program.
Oh, yeah. On the day of the scaring final, Mike and Sully began to argue. Then they got into a roaring face-off. Everyone was watching, including the head of the School of Scaring, Dean Hardscrabble. Oh, she's scary still. Sully accidentally knocked over a scream can. It held the record-breaking scream Dean Hardscrabble had collected in her scaring days. The canister hit the floor. Hardscrabble's scream was gone. "I'm so sorry," cried Mike. "It was an accident," insisted Sully. Dean Hardscrabble proceeded to give Mike and Sully their final exams. Say dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And she was not impressed. She decided neither would be continuing in the scaring program. Sully was speechless and stormed out of the room. Hardscrabble turned to Mike. "Mr. Wazowski, what you lack is something that can't be taught. You're not scary."
Mama,
Mike was crushed. Yes.
can I just get that off because I put my hand in front of it?
You want to blow it out? Oh boy, a little bit. Okay. A little bit harder. Wow.
Good. The next
Good job.
semester, Mike and Sully were put in the Scream Can Design program. They were miserable
Aww.
until Mike remembered the scare games. Dean Hardscrabble made a deal with Mike. If you win, I'll let your entire team into the scaring program. But if you'll lose, you will leave Monsters University.
Aww. Say aww. She's our little sound effect machine right here.
All he had to do was find a fraternity to join so he could compete. there was only one option, Uzma Kappa, a group of misfits who weren't exactly scary. The problem was Uzma Kappa needed one more member. The star player has just arrived, Sully told Mike. Mike was not happy, but he had no choice. He and Sully moved into Uzma Kappa house and met Don, Art, Squishy, Terry, and Terry.
Terry and Terry?
Yep.
Glad they put their
I know
differences
why.
aside to be on the same team. All right.
Big
Oh,
thing.
they're spelled differently, though. In the opening event of the Scare Games, the first team to make it through a tunnel of stinging glow urchins would win. The last would be out. Mike and Sully tied for second, but they left the rest of their team behind, so Uzma Kappa came in last. Luckily, another team was disqualified, so Uzma Kappa was still in the game. Phew, that was a close call, wasn't
Mama,
it?
can you put in front so I can see?
Oh, up here?
No, right.
Oh, right here? You see it now? Okay. Uzma Kappa made it through the next challenge too, but everyone except Mike and Sully wanted to quit. We're built for other things, Don explained. So Mike decided to take the gang on a field trip to Monsters, Inc. While there, Mike realized something. There's no one type of scarer. The best scarers use their differences to their advantage.
Don's gonna pop onto him.
Shh, don't give it away.
Oh.
Mike and Sully admitted they'd been acting like jerks. We could be a great team, Mike said. We just need to start working together.
Oh, it takes it's teamwork.
Teamwork, teamwork.
That next morning, Mike and Sully felt inspired. They woke up early and leapt out of their bed. They trained the OKs and everything they would need to know for the next two events: how to scare kids and avoid teenagers, how to hide, and even how to do scary feet drills to make sure everyone was in tip-top condition. Uzma Kappa was even more determined to win. They made it through the Don't Scare the Teen and the hide-and-seek sneak events. They were finally a team, and even better, they were friends. But that night, Sully ran into Dean Hardscrabble.
Say dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tomorrow, each of you must prove you're undeniably scary, she said, and I know for a fact that one of you is not. Sully knew she was talking about Mike. Mike was smart, talented, and the hardest working monster he'd ever met. But he was also small, friendly, and not exactly scary. Sully was worried. He really wanted his team to win, and the next day was the final Scare Games event.
Woohoo! I actually really love this movie.
This movie's pretty okay. I do remember. It's
This
pretty good.
movie is good. The big day arrived. There were just two fraternities left, Roar Omega Roar and Uzma Kappa. The monsters had to scare a robot child. One by one, the members of both teams faced off. In the end, though, it came down to Mike. He got a perfect score! Uzma Kappa had won the Scare Games! Say woohoo! But Mike soon discovered that Sully had cheated. He changed the setting to easy during Mike's turn. You don't think I'm scary? What was I supposed to do? Let the whole team fail? Sully replied. Mike wanted to prove he was scary. He snuck through a door into the human world and ended up in a camp cabin filled with dangerous children. But they didn't think he was scary either. Sully snuck through the door to get his friend back, but Mike wanted Sully to leave. After what had happened, Mike didn't think he was special. I try to give people what they want, but all I do is let them down, Sully told Mike. You're not the only failure here. Mike was surprised. But just then, the Rangers arrived. So many cliffhangers.
Mike and Sully knew they needed to get back to the monster world. To open the door, Sully had to scare the Rangers enough to power the door. When Mike and Sully made it back to Monsters University, they were kicked out of school. They hugged the OKs goodbye and left on their next big adventure together. In the mailroom at Monsters, Inc.
Wait, they were kicked out of school?
Mm-hmm. Rigged it to be easy.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Cheaters never win.
But they did end up becoming a monster in Monsters Inc.
That
He's
is
far
true.
superior one. I don't know.
Yeah. 5-minute stories.
Good.
Those are
Excellent.
fun. Okay. Are we ready to spin? I know you've been waiting.
It's gotta be a hard spin, kid.
You
can
do a really
this.
hard spin.
And then
Okay?
you come over here.
So you're going to take this and you're going to go. Okay? We got everybody's names. Hold on. We got to go right here to see who wins our next prize. A tumbler with your name on it and a picture of one of your favorite things. Wait, you got to come over to this side so they can see. And you got to go here and go hard.
Pull down. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Good spin.
It's a black one.
Oh, blank. You get to spin again.
Hard spin. Ooh, Bailey.
Bailey H. Let's get up and close and see it.
Lower.
Whoa, right. There, number 18. Bailey H, you win a prize. I'll get in contact with your mom, and we will make sure that you get your tumbler with your name on it, a straw, and a picture of something that you like. All right. Have a good night. We'll see you later this week.
Always keep reading.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Tambor, you didn't turn in your paperwork. I'm watching you, Mr. Tambor.